Honorable Judge Chief Justice Mohamed Chande Othman, and the Chairman of the Presidential Committee for the incidences of October 2025, and all the Commission members, all the leaders of CORI, that has 17 members today. We have representatives because most of the leaders are in Arusha for a special task. All the editors and managers from various media houses and social and media platforms, my fellow members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, the United Republic of Tanzania. As you understand, on the 23rd of April this year, apologies, you're having difficulties of hearing the speaker, and we presume it's a technical difficulty, so please bear with us as we are fixing it. Thank you. Honorable retired Chief Justice Mohamed Chande Othman, kindly invite you so that you can hear various commentaries from various members of the press, including radios, television stations, etc. You're most welcome. My fellow listeners, good morning, members of the press. On behalf of the Commission, I thank you for having this opportunity to be with you, especially immediately after presenting our report to Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. To understand that she is the one who commissioned this task to us last year, November 2025, and we were able to do that job, and we officially handed over the report last week on the 23rd. And so we saw it fit so that we can meet and give you an opportunity to ask questions, and you can also offer clarifications, because you can also offer clarifications to the people of Tanzania. And let me just say this, that the Commission, its main task was to fact find based on the evidence that was presented, and for the and also working on the terms of reference that were given. So we were told to establish the cause of the violence that happened pre and post October 2025, and in our investigation we understood the cause for the violence. Apologies, we're having difficulty in hearing the speaker, so please bear with us. So we understood that the cause is the matchbox, the cause is the fuel, and the catalyst is the matchbox. And the other thing was to understand the motive. And as the Commission, you're able to understand the motive, and you also had to identify the people who participated in the violence, and we understood the different groups of the who participated in this violence and these incidents. And we are also supposed to understand the human effect, economic effect, social effect, and other impacts that were a result of the events that took place in October 25. We also had the task of identifying and controlling what happened. Understand our defense and security organs have the role of identifying, and we also worked on the area of rule of law, accountability, and the issue of reconciliation, and the issue of the new constitution, and we came up with recommendations that were short-term, mid-term, and long-term. And so, as I said earlier, the commission, we were given 153 days to work, and we worked for all 153 days, all of them. And what were we expecting? Apologies, cannot hear the speaker. So the kind of evidence that we received, apologies, we're having difficulties hearing the speaker. So we had evidence, and so the sworn in evidence, 953. Sworn in witnesses from the police force, 26. So we also expected questionnaires, online and digital platforms, and some people were given the questionnaires to fill, and we had 4,891 questionnaires, and each one had special questions that were focused on the terms of references that we were given. We also depended on the meetings with special groups, and we also had open talks in all the 11 regions that we visited, but we also had an opportunity 561 people. And so we didn't expect much evidence from the police, despite the fact that the police and what happened was the breach of peace, and we understand, according to the law, states that the role of the police force is to protect the peace, to protect the properties, it is the task of the police force. And so the police had the task of controlling the situation. So we depended much from the victims and the people who were affected by the violence acts. Another area is this commission. We had a face-to-face interview with 6,205 people. And so you are using mobile phones. Ask on a mobile phone. Try to ask what commission has been able to meet with 6,205 people. There's no such kind of a commission globally, but we were able to meet with this number of people for only 153 days. So per day, we used to meet more than 40 witnesses. And so a total number of people that were involved during this period of time is more than 63,000 people. 63,000 people. There are those who sent us messages, there are those who filled the questionnaires, and those who filled the questionnaires are more than 62,000. As I said earlier, when I was handing over the report, it is almost all the people who are living in Tukuyu or Bagamoyo, or all people so we had to take time to listen to all of these people. We had to give attention to all these people, to give them an opportunity, to not deny them about, and as I said, we were supposed to fact find. And so I said this as an introduction, but allow me to invite Professor Numa, who, as you know, he's also the member of the commission, and he was the member of the commission under Judge Kipenga. That was tasked to investigate the murders minors in Dar es Salaam. So he was the commission member. So he was a commission member then, and is also the commission member now. So he can explain to you how the procedure works. And I understand some would prefer the international commissions, but maybe he can just brief you on how things are so as to clarify. So thank you so much. Let me try go ahead and go again now. I'd like to thank you. Let me take the opportunity to speak, but I will mainly speak on after being on the commission for 153 days and listening to all the witnesses,
given their statements and going through different documents alongside the laws of Tanzania as well as the international laws. And after handing over the information to the Honorable President on the 23rd, but after explaining what had happened, the incident that had happened on the said day, apologies, we're having a technical problem. We're failing to hear the speaker. After us, the commission, listening to all the testimony, our opinions might be different. And after listening to all the witnesses, so our opinions come from meeting with various people and not just looking at how things were happening. So we started, the commission had started with the point of its validity. We're all aware and we can all remember. Now, fortunately, the case was open in the High Court and it went through hearing, and you had given our affidavits as well. Apologies. So now every day it is good for us to go back to what was presented before the court. Instead of going against the report from the commission. So I believe that the High Court had answered on so many grounds with its merit. As you remember, in the High Court, there is a ground that people do not have confidence on the members of the commission, that the members of the commission have their own interests, and why there are no members. Apologies, we're facing a technical issue. Why there are no members from the commissions, from the doctors, from the bishops, from the civilians, and of course there's also a ground why the youth that are unemployed were not also made members of the commission. Now the response from the High Court apologies, we're having a technical issue. The law that governs this commission was made in 1928, and since that time there have been changes and amendments. So now the ruling and the decision from the High Court was based on the on how the involvement on the human rights, but also how to protect witnesses, to give rights to an individual that is also, apologies, we're having a technical issue. Other witnesses would also mention names. So now if you allow that names to circulate, at that point there are laws that contravene with such matters. So now concerning the issue of validity, we are departing from it, and now we are in a good position. Personally, the judgment from the High Court was vital because it goes as well to the independence of the commission. What do you mean by saying the commission was independent? The High Court has said the independence is the modality that makes it to be independent. First is through an oath that requires every member to investigate thoroughly without being biased, as well as answering to all that what was brought at hand. So the independence of the commission, apologies, it requires, if the member follows all the requirements for them to do their job with righteousness. And the other thing that was spoken about, the difference between opinions and the opinions from the commission and the opinions from the civilians. The chairperson has taught the methodology that we had used, so now our opinions were, our findings were through the methodologies. And it's good to those who, apologies, to those who also have their opinions, it will be good if they show the methodology that they have used to reach where they've reached with their findings. Apologies. We're having a technical issues in hearing the speaker. There are people that had different opinions and say different things. So now we see that our opinions some other things that had arose was concerning the International Commission. We are all aware what had happened on the election day and post-election. It did not just shake Tanzania, but as well as the whole world. If you want to know, so now the whole world has the right to know what is going on in Tanzania. So now the question that many are asking is is it right for the world to intervene and also being able to create a commission before Tanzania has finished its procedural manner of having the investigation. Apologies for having technical issues on hearing the speaker. And who will be there to invite the International Commission? Which laws will they stand with in the regions to go through different prisons and to make the apologies? Now, the United Nations, they look upon two things as of now in Tanzania. The first one, do we show the intention of having a thorough investigation? Apologies, you're having technical issues on hearing the speaker. If you remember that this law, even the judgment from the High Court, the main work of the commission is not to judge, saying that this one had wrong, this one had error, this one is supposed to do this. No. And if we start mentioning people and names, there are also precedents in the High Court of Kenya, as the Supreme Court in Canada had also received the same fact that the people who were mentioned on the commission and they're not given the right to be heard, and all the paragraphs that had indicated them. Apologies, we're having a technical issue. But also we should really look at it closely concerning the International Commission, concerning the mandate that we have been given with the laws that govern our commission. Now, this law has given the mandated authority of every leader to cooperate. And that is why we had received cooperation from different leaders. We have so much information. We had asked so many questions concerning so many things, political issues. economical issues. That the documents, now for example, if somebody would decline to give us a certain document, we're able to coerce as how the High Court can coerce you to give certain document and information. So that is one among the things that I felt like I should speak of, because it's really being out there, and it's important to speak about this matter because in the time of finishing some of the matters before going to the next election. So now when we say that we want to go to the are we that is one of the things that were also spoken about. Something else that was also spoken about: to who does this report belong to? This is a report from the president, and all the laws from the investigative commission of all the countries. The one who creates and makes the commission is the honorable president, and the report is as well being handed over to the president. The question that we have to ask ourselves: the honorable president, upon their receiving of the report, what does they get to do now? These are things that the president gets to do. The president can send DPP, Director of Public Prosecution, and that is what had happened on the commission led by Judge Kipenga, and fortunately I was also one among the members. That commission, when they had sat their report, they had touched the police force because there's evidence. Where were they arrested? They were in handcuffs. It was known. The TOR, the terms of reference, made them to be aware. It's different from our TOR. We do not know until now. Yes, we've gotten the evidence of who had planned, who had orchestrated, who had sponsored. Now that is our difference, because we cannot just go straight to making people accountable before giving them their right to be heard. And if you make one accountable before exercising their right to be heard, now the High Court has so many. And we looked for the police force first. That's when you got the information needed that for the past 3 years, from 2023 to 2025, it is 3 years. People who are officially considered missing and their information is reported to the police force. The investigations that was done resulted to these people totaling 503 to be found. $265
people are still missing. 265 people are still missing, which is 34%. When you look into the 3 years period between 2023 to 2025, and number 2, the statistics show that, for instance, in 2022, missing persons were 216. The ones who were found were 160. And 66 were still missing. That was 2022. 2025, last year. 2025, last year, 237 people went missing. 176 were found. And the ones who are still missing are 61. And so, it doesn't mean that there are no efforts done to look for the missing people, because there are those who are found, but we still have a group, another group of those who are still missing. And so, people are driven to want to know the information about their family, their friends, their relatives who are still missing. And why did we say that this can be one of the cause? Because, for instance, we went to Mara region. We went to Sirari ward in Tarime, in Mara region. There was one witness who gave us 6 names of the people who were missing in that ward alone, 6 people. And they are still looking for answers. And so it is something that is an issue. Another thing, members of the press, let me tell you this. This is something that you need to understand. And it is important for you to know that this issue let us not mix words here. People who are missing, it has its own definition. People who decide to vanish or decide to disappear with their own will, it has its own meaning and its own definition. So, missing person, what does this mean? This is someone who people are not aware where they are. And, okay, his or her whereabouts are not known by the family or his relatives or her relatives. And this person's information is communicated officially. So there are those people who decide to disappear with their own will. And there are those who disappear, but not by their own will. So there are those who involuntarily go missing. And there are those who voluntarily go missing. There are those who involuntarily have gone missing. Yeah, or in other words, it's enforced disappearance. It is a legal term. And there is a special act concerning the people who are called, they have been enforced to disappear. disappearance, enforced disappearance of 2006. And it has also highlighted the meaning of enforced disappearance. And the main thing is someone was abducted, remanded, by who? By government's agents, or by individuals, or a group of people that has the permission from the government, and where these people are placed, that information is not communicated, and that's enforced disappearance. So let us not confuse these two groups of people. So on the area of people who are missing, it is something that is affecting everyone. We are also affected. That's why we kept it as one of the causes, especially on the social causes. But it is also an issue affecting globally. Red Cross globally, according to their statistics, 284,000 people are missing. 284,000 people globally, they are missing. So even in Europe, people go missing. In Belgium, people go missing. People go missing in USA, in Holland. But they go missing for different reasons. So every country, they have their own reasons. There are 74. There are 74 causes of people missing. So if you want to go to the root, you need to identify and go in depth. Look for the indicators and why. So some people go missing, or there is an act of enforced disappearance because of the issue of minors. So for instance, Australia, it is someone went missing. So this is affecting all of us, and it cannot be solved by one platform. So what have we realized? First and foremost, $758 people have gone missing. 2023, 2025, and those who found. So what groups? Another reason is running from law enforcement organs, witchcraft. So some people go missing because of those reasons. For instance, in Dar es Salaam, there are a lot of minors human trafficking. So I will tell you this. It is something that needs to be prioritized. So we need to have a special strategy to solve this and solve it all the way to the root. Identify the indicators and solve it from the root. But number two, we've also seen in the investigations that are ongoing, despite the achievements that have been seen by finding the missing persons who experienced enforced disappearance and every kind of missing, it is important for us to have a strategy to be able to solve this issue of missing persons. But also, police force has 233 PGOs that have a system that requires the police to inform the family. So we have recommended that because this is an issue that is public, I think the police force, they understand, they inform us. So maybe they should also inform a larger audience so that we can understand the outcome of the missing persons. And so for the people who are found, there are indicators of criminal acts. And so a lot of cases end up at the investigative stage. And so in order to strengthen the investigation, especially for criminal acts that are happening, we have recommended when the authorities come in agreement, we can ask the CAG to do an analysis of the performance review of the impact of the investigation so as to improve it. And if you can remember, this was already done. On the area of plea bargaining, it was already done, the performance review of the plea bargaining, and it has helped us in improving that area. And so we identified areas that needed improvement. So I just wanted to put this and offer clarification in this area so that on the area of the missing persons, etc. Another area that is important for us to clarify is the issue of who are the main parties, because we have two sides of what happened in October 2025. The ones who organized, the ones who coordinated, the ones who financed. We are not talking of the small fishes here. The other side is those who controlled in 3 days the peace was restored. So we are going to talk about both parties shortly. Let me invite Ambassador Mela so that she can, apologies, IGP Mwema, to talk about the masterminds. Then later, we are going to talk about the other group that controlled and handled the situation. And another area that is important is the area of accountability. And then later, we are going to open the floor so that you can start receiving your questions. Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Chair. Members of the press, it is a great opportunity to get more clarification on this issue in depth. And just like the way the report was presented, the evidence that collected, we were able to identify that the acts of violence were organized, coordinated, and financed. And so the question comes, how did you know? How did you find out? More than 63,000 people that we met. There are those who we met face to face. There are those who communicated to us through writings. And there are those who also came out sympathizing with us, with what happened, and accepting that they were ready to show us who were the masterminds. So there are people that we moved with them from the streets. They told us how they were involved to carry out these acts of violence. They are motorcycle drivers. They are various groups. And we came to realize and if these things would be a success, in few days we are going to celebrate even greater achievements. So in various areas, you'd find an analysis to realize what plan was being done where. And we came to realize that these acts of violence were also financed. There were pictures and other evidences and so most importantly, we are able to disperse
There are some areas around 202. So now think of the areas such as Magomeni, Kimara, Kinyerezi, but then there are incidents, more than one incident on the said area. So now the way to actually face the situation, having some hindrances on the road, you see it really didn't happen, but it was premeditated. And that is the modality that we had used. No one in the commission had sat and thought on their own that maybe this was the way it was done. There are witnesses who had come. There are evidences from the videos and pictures. So that were things that had led us to know how it had occurred. So I just want to say, good afternoon. Today's world is different from the one we're used to back then. Things like this. Things are premeditated on the social networks. You don't know who is organizing them. People are organizing. And they can organize to a point of the issue to be successful, to a point that they can be forward even more than the ones that are trying to prevent. Therefore, with the investigation that we had done, the evidence has brought up the matter that truly it was from the social networks, but as well as other few people. The evidence, we had received it from the social networks, but also we had met different people, and one of the people that we had met, as well as people who were in the prison, the accused persons in prison, but also few people. And where did we get this evidence? The social networks, but also we had met different people, and some of the people that we had met were as well as the accused people in prison. We went through all the prisons, and we had gotten the opportunity to speak with them. But also we had met with the victims, which had also come with testimonies and evidences of pictures from different places showing what had occurred, and some accused people that were also seen on CCTV cameras while they are trying to do the act. So we were also trying to speak to them, and they had confessed and said they actually had done the incident. But now, if you're aware of the things that are happening, how come you're not able to prevent it from happening? What we had seen is that the speed was overwhelming in comparing to the incidences that have already happened. There are information from America, the incident that had also happened, but the speed, they were not able to know and understand what truly had happened. But they would see people were doing training, that they will come to attack, but where exactly are they going to attack and at what time and with what? It was not able to be understood. But in the issues of intelligence, something called intelligence gaps, which are the gaps that when you get an information, you don't get it
Another issue that I'm explaining is the tactics that they used are not normal, because the normal tactics, normal demonstration, they start from one place, head into another place, and they move with a message, etc., trying to communicate something. So all our expectation from the defense organs and security forces, they were expecting such demonstration, but then instead, violence that was done through motorcycle riders, and they also experienced a lot of acts of violence. And these acts of violence were dispersed in various areas at once, to an extent that controlling them became difficult. So there was a question that has been asked by many people using the media. How come our defense forces were there, but they didn't declare any state of emergency? Now, that question can be answered by Act number 24 of 2006, when you look at Section 21 of the National Defense Act. It allows the defense forces to assist the civil power. And so our defense forces, based on this act, was supposed, and it is expected, to assist the civil authority. And so it also further states that when they go to assist, they should also use some certain force. They're not going to remove the police force, but they're just going to be there to assist and working together with other organs present. And also, the laws and the guidelines of any defense force member, they explain this in detail. The National Security Council Act of 2010 also explains that there are committees of security committees at the district level, at the regional level, and their main role is to regulate and coordinate. But there's also a special committee for the heads of defense and security organs that are there with the purpose of regulating and coordinating all issues of defense and securities related. And so that is why our defense forces were present for that. And that act is not only in Tanzania, but it is in all other countries. The language might be a little bit different, but it has the same intention. And so when you look at this act, it is similar to the acts that are found in other countries as well. And so we had a challenge in controlling the whole situation because of the speed, because of the way they organized these acts of violence, etc. But I believe we have received a great lesson, especially to our defense forces, to be able to stop such kind of an act repeating itself. Just like you can remember, they wanted to do the same thing in the 9th of December, but we are able to position ourselves well, and it didn't happen. Thank you. People, many people expected that the day of presenting this report, the masterminds will be mentioned or be named, and those who control the situation and resulted to deaths would also be mentioned or named. And on the end of accountability, from our end, there is no witness or anyone that came forward before the commission and said, or brought facts that there shouldn't be an issue of accountability. And it is not something that is unusual. So we are all in agreement that accountability is important. And so everyone, nobody has refused the area of accountability to be observed, but we have all agreed that accountability is important. But our main concern is accountability that is right. And we are also advised with some of our leaders that the one who is supposed to be held accountable, they should be held accountable by law. And the ones who are not supposed to be held accountable, they shouldn't be held accountable. So those are the guidelines that the commission has received. The one who's supposed to be held accountable should be held accountable. The one who is not supposed to should not be held accountable. And others went further and said one should not be given as a scapegoat for others. Let us hold each other accountable, but let us avoid the issue of leaving one person as a scapegoat. So it is not only our views, but you also receive the views and recommendations from other people. Then after receiving also views from other people, then we decided based on all that. So in order for us to have a clear map or a way of or the clear direction towards accountability, we identified 3 things or 3 groups. Number 1, or the first level, is personal accountability for someone who has done this criminal act. So someone, they decide to be accountable because of what they have done. On the area of us, whether it's a criminal act or criminal offense or a civil offense. And for the police force, it is not something uncommon. The law actually says that. So it is not the commission that is spelling this out. It is the act. So the police force understands. They have to do what they do, but it has to be by law. For instance, in mining sites, for instance, in North Mara, etc. So we receive many of those cases. There is another level of accountability. The level of the leader or the commander to be held accountable. A leader to the people and a commander to the defense and security forces. And so that leader or that commander, first, they have to have the ability to order, someone who has the ability to effectively control and command. And they need to have that ability, because you are accusing someone of doing a wrongful act, but they have done it under your supervision. So this person is carrying all the guilt of a criminal offense that they have not done it by their own will, but it is under your order. And many who have organized this are not the ones who have implemented it. And so the leader or the commander has to be ready to be held accountable. First, we need evidence to show that they were able to order that person under them to do something. And another area is they need to understand that what has been done by the people under them, or they were supposed to know, that the people under them or the people that they are leading have done a certain act. So we cannot just blame the leaders. Maybe they were not aware of what their followers were doing. So they need to be aware that their followers have done a certain act. They're supposed to know. And so by law, they were supposed to know, or they know. And number three, they have failed. They have failed to take any step of stopping any actions that can be taken to protect or prevent those acts. And the third group is what was communicated by Ambassador Mela, is the area of organizational accountability or institutional. And it is also our view that institutions should be held accountable. We are led by the terms of reference, as what I communicated earlier, and the important issue of fact-finding. So at this stage, it is not the job of the commission to accuse someone of any criminal offense or a civil offense. And this act has been used for more than 150 years for countries like Canada, where they've had more than 500 commissions of inquiry like this one. And it has been used by high courts in UK, Singapore, Malaysia, Canada, etc. on the area of civil offenses. I mean criminal offenses. So what kind of evidence have we gathered? Okay, the evidence that we have gathered to a greater extent on the victims, that alone is not enough to accuse someone. We also need to receive evidence from the other side. But from the investigation level, someone will say, I was shot, I was in my shop. We are going to receive their evidence, but that doesn't mean that you are going to initially accuse. When you go to court, you present your evidence, there's going to be presented two sides. The accused, the opposition. So as the commission, we cannot only speak to one side. And so at this juncture, we don't need to, we understand the evidence is present. There are those who have been shot, who are not even committing any act of violence, who are not part of the demonstrators. And those people are saying the evidence is there. But for now, we have received evidence from one side. So that's why in our recommendations, we said we are going to have a roadmap towards accountability. There are names that have been mentioned for the middlemen who disbursed funds, etc. But you cannot just accuse someone until you give them the right to be heard. So they also need an equal chance to be heard. So we understand some names have been mentioned, etc. But most of the people who came to see the commission, they came with their own will. They received the summons. So at this juncture, we decided to stand and be fact finders. So we have investigated, and this is just the preliminary stages. Okay, people died where? How many people died? So we investigated on that, and we realized 518 people died. Most of these people were not normal deaths. There are other people who died by natural causes. There are others who died by heart attack. Those are normal deaths. But there are others which were not normal deaths. It doesn't mean that they are deaths against the law. The only authority that can clearly say that this was death against the law is the court. The doctors will present their evidence and they will tell us that this number of deaths is not normal. Most of the corpses, 260, have undergone post-mortem. Uh, 260 dead bodies have undergone the post-mortem. So you cannot just go without using scientific investigation. So the important question here is who should be held accountable for what and when? Who should be held accountable when and for what act and by which evidence? So we do not believe in accountability is just for the sake of it being there. The outcome of such level of accountability is someone, at the end of the day, someone will just be caught and then they'll just be let free. So you need to make sure that your evidence is able to convince the court of law to hold these people accountable. And we have also recommended that we need to have a special body that or commission that is going to go in depth. This commission is not going to go for the fishing expedition. We have already identified the areas that they should focus on. There are 21 deaths of minors, 2 under the age of 4. We need these deaths to be investigated. 39 people who were shot outside the areas of demonstration. We need these deaths to be investigation. And so we gave them, and so it starts in the area of investigation. At least they will have the direction of which area to start, so that this can be caught and held accountable. So let me end here. I thank you all. And let me hand over to our MC so that she can take us to the next stage. Thank you so much. Honorable Othman Chande, former Chief Justice and the chair of the Presidential Commission for October 2025, pre and post. Thank you so much for all the commission members who have spoken to the members of the press, my fellow members of the press. Now, this is your chance to ask questions. We are going to receive 5 questions and they're going to be answered. And we are going to look if time is going to allow us, and if we'll have more questions, we are going to allow more questions and answer them. I mean, the commission is going to answer them. So please, may the questions be brief and clear, and they should be asked in a clear language. Okay, I have a question. Okay, we have questions. Unasikia? Shikana. Those who are going to ask questions, please, may they raise their hands and they should have the microphones. Thank you. I can see hands at the back. I can see the other hand. Thank you. I want to congratulate the Commission for the report. I have two questions. The first question is what has been observed here, and people are talking. The fact that there are people who were seen that were shooting people during the demonstrations, and they are not from Tanzania, they're from neighboring countries. So I've not seen this being mentioned in the Commission. So does it mean that you have not met this information, or it is only us seeing it in social media? And the Commission says there are some witnesses who were coerced to enter and do these acts of violence because they wanted to achieve something. So we want to know what they want to achieve. My name is Salaam Mohamed. I just wanted to know. You finished your tenure after 153 days on the 23rd of April, and you are reporting to us what you have done. So why are we receiving this report? Because you were commissioned by Her Excellency and you handed her the report. So we are receiving the report as who? Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Nyerere, and I'd just like to know, after this recommendation from the Commission, what you have communicated to us. Have you asked for answers? And are you going to receive the answers as the Commission so that you can work on them, so that later further steps can be taken or not? Thank you. Honorable Chair, they've already asked the questions, the 5 questions, please. May we hear the answers? You're welcome. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, and the members of the press for your contributions that have been well received. I will answer the question concerning the issue we talked of till 2028. It's true, but what we are talking about here is the issue of the Constitution. So it's the issue of the investigation. So the issue of the investigation is ongoing from now as we move forward until when you get to the bottom of it. And so for 2028, we talked of it as a tentative time that we make sure by then we have the Constitution. I'd like to answer question number 2 from Rogastian. If we identified the presence of some of the members of the defense forces from the neighboring countries and they were seen shooting people. According to our investigation, we have not been able to identify that, but it is something that is possible. As we analyze information, we learned 2 things. How true is that issue, and is this thing possible? So we didn't want to confine ourselves. So we have left it to the part of investigations that are going to be focused on the criminal offenses that have taken place. There was also a question about the witnesses. What the witnesses were saying first, the people who took part okay, so the people who took part in these acts of violence, for instance, someone was asked, so the other question was the fact that the commission has finished its task. And so why is it here? There are 2 things. Number 1, the work of the commissions of inquiry of this nature. One of the areas that we focus on is creating awareness during and after its period of work is over. And that's why we also got an experience from Judge Kipenka's commission in 2006. Some of us were not aware. But one of the areas that the commissions of inquiry have to focus on is also creating awareness to the public. So there is no any law that after the Commission of Inquiry has finished its task, they are no longer supposed to communicate or create awareness, etc. The Commission of Inquiry is not the court of law. And when it comes to the judges in the court of law, after they reach the point of judgment, they are no longer going to discuss that issue. The Commission of Inquiry has the role that is ongoing to create awareness in the public about this commission, because these commissions of inquiry are formed for the benefit of the public. And so the authority uses the act that the Commission of Inquiry has the mandate to hold any activities that are going to benefit the public. You also asked on the area of CV. The Chief Secretary has introduced each and every one of us experience and expertise. And so the one who selected us knows why she selected us. So the Commission of Inquiry has been selected by law. And for those people who wanted the Commission of Inquiry of another way, of another type, they are supposed to go to the High Court. So imagine if we allow every one of us to just select the commissions of inquiry of 9 people. Believe me, we are going to have different commissions of inquiry here with different names. So for all the countries, 57 countries of Commonwealth, the minister, or the president, they have the mandate to form the commissions of inquiry, and they know why do they select the people they select, for what reason. So as I said, these commissions of inquiry are common in Commonwealth countries. We were visited by former President Chikwera on behalf of Commonwealth countries. He also has the commission of inquiry in his country. So for instance, you can even act former President Chikwera. He formed a commission of inquiry after the plane crash that killed one of the former vice president, and only one judge was selected in that commission of inquiry. So you can go and ask them, why did he only select one judge? It's their own choice. Thank you so much, Chair. If I've understood them clearly, they're asking for feedback. We have asked for feedback. As we said earlier, the information collected by this commission is meant for Her Excellence. And if you can, the terms of reference were only 6, but the evidence that was collected have touched more than the terms of reference that were given. It touches the economic issues, psychological issues, social issues, to an extent that even our recommendations have also gone beyond the areas that were touched or mentioned in our terms of reference. And normally, the implementation of these commissions of inquiry, you cannot say by this date we should be done. For instance, this commission on the area of land issues, it took a number of years before they came up with the Land Act. And there are other things that are found in these commissions that are still important. For instance, students that have studied law, one of the sources of what they learn in law school is the reports from these commissions, because we are sharing experiences in our country. We are sharing international experiences. We can learn so much from this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My question is concerning, I have heard the recommendations that were given out by the commission. So now when you look at the things that were discussed here, for example, I hate speech, or maybe people not accepting other people's opinions. I don't think if the commission, did they not see a point of coming with a recommendation that involves the media, especially having medias that put ahead the public interest instead of, partisan journalist or radicalization or something of that sort? Did the commission see the need of having that, basing on the fact of the looking to the issue that media is a public good? So if it's a public good, it has a great opportunity of creating a better tomorrow that Tanzanians actually aspiring for. So did the commission see a need of coming with a recommendation of place the media as a great stakeholder in creating the Tanzania that every civilian is aspiring for? Thank you. Thank you. My name is Igan Sala, and my question is, first I'd like to congratulate you for the great work that you have done. Can you please say where you're coming from? My name is Igan Sala from BBC. I would like to congratulate you for the great work that you have done. You have truly explained thoroughly what had happened and how it had occurred. But on the same manner, still on the streets, there are critics that are going on, and still there are people that are doubting. So why is the situation like that? But also, to you, what message is it sent to you as a commission? Thank you. Great report. The evidence that you have used a great methodology, that the civilians, it's as if they don't feel involved. And the main aim of that investigation was to make the civilians understand and take them back to the situation of peace. So now the commission, which kind of research have they made after this report, after it being criticized based on their qualitative measure that they have used that the civilians are not able to understand? Now, has the report answered the questions of the civilians, or rather has increased questions to the civilians? Thank you. Do we have another hand?
So there was an issue of enforcement in the issue of disappearance, etc. So I wanted to know, in the 3 years, what form of disappearance took place? Because you defined to us different groups. Thank you. My name is Ayubu Luka from Nyamvila Habari. the incidents that took place in 29th of October have left wounds, deep wounds, especially for people who lost their families and their friends. I have not followed I've not followed it very closely, but I have not had them in what ways the commission do to try and heal these wounds. So this commission that is formed, how do they heal the wounds of the public, especially for those people who lost their loved ones? Ayub, before I invite our former Chief Justice, please, I ask the members of the press to go through the report, because sometimes it shows that we are not really fulfilling our duties. Honorable former Chief Justice and Chair of the Presidential Commission, I questions from the members of the press. Thank you. Thank you so much for the questions. And the issue of media, we recognize that media is one of our biggest stakeholders. And that's why even during the special groups conferences that we are holding, we had one meant for the members of the press. And Media Council was the coordinator so as to receive their views, because we understand that we have received a lot of pictures. Some are from our media platforms here, and some are from the international media houses. And we had still pictures, we had videos from our local media houses and international media houses. So we knew that they are one of the greatest stakeholders. And so in our recommendations, we didn't really focus on the area of media, but we just cover the issue of communication, the use of social medias. So we have grouped media in all that, in the area of communication. And another question focused on those who have gone missing, etc. So in the number that I mentioned, the statistics, we have been able to explain in detail those who have experienced involuntary disappearance, enforced disappearance. Some have been kidnapped, etc. So all those have been explained. So in the number of people who were missing and they were then found, there is a number that shows that some of them had performed criminal acts. So there is a certain number of those people that shows an indicator of criminal acts criminal offenses that was done. And that's why we asked for CAG to come up with recommendations so that you can have improvement in this area, because at the end of the day, those people who have participated in criminal offenses, they need to be held accountable. And yeah. And for other questions, I would ask my fellow commission member to answer them. and also the question of how the commission has helped to heal those people who have loss of their lives. Thank you so much, Chair. You will remember on the 23rd, when our chair was presenting the report for the commission, towards the end of the report, we were able to, out of the recommendation, look at the answer the area of some of the recommendations. We had short-term, mid-term, we had long-term recommendations. Among the government should face injured persons, that they should receive free medical treatment, and those who need assistive devices, they should receive. And another thing is to find ways to accept the fact that the ones who are gone are gone. There was also another recommendation of helping those places that have been affected psychologically and socially, because that was an act that resulted to trauma. There are those who have lost people who are depending on them. There are children who have seen very horrendous acts. There are parents who have lost their children. We have seen pregnant women with young children. Despite receiving other services, they also need to receive psychological services, psychological counsel, and we also asked for the religious leaders to also offer spiritual counseling so that these people can heal. There is also a recommendation for the constitution, that a proposed constitution to be finished by 2028. But it was also proposed to have the Reconciliation Commission. So sometimes it's not a must for people to agree, but at least they can reconcile and decide to see eye to eye, so that we no longer inflict more pain amongst ourselves. In the short-term recommendation, There are also recommendations. We also had medium term recommendations. The issue of accountability. Accountability should go and follow the right stages, just like what was communicated by our chair. We've also recommended to receive the information from the task force from other organs in bringing understanding. And also to enable the youth to participate in various economic activities, because the laws for the business environment to be more friendly so that they can be able to participate in various economic activities. The Commission also talked of strengthening the appointment of leaders and senior officials based on qualifications and fair competition, because a lot of young people complained that the employment process does not give them an opportunity to get jobs, and they didn't see it being conducted in a fair way. So another issue of opportunity for youth to get loans. And though they have opportunities announced, but young people have been finding it difficult to acquire those loans. And so youth that form a large part of our population, we recommended that they should have a special environment that is more friendly for them to be able to access these loans, etc. It was also recommended that the youth also should go for the youth service. They'll also learn more about being patriotic, being more independent, and also learn more discipline. And in order to also help our police force and our defense forces, young people are going to stay in camps so that they can have ease in access for rapid response, but also to protect the discipline and the kind of job that the police force and other defense organs do. If there are any more recommendations or any more addition to what I've said, please go ahead. So I'll just share one thing, then the former Chief Justice is going to conclude. It is true, the Commission, there are areas that needed experts. It is normal. There are areas that need experts. And so the Commission needed experts And so it's not a must for us to agree with their experts' views. So there are other areas of the commission. We had more than one expert. For instance, the members of the commission, we do not have any experts on the area of explosives. And so we had to look for experts in that area. We don't have expertise in the area of satellite images. Where did we get experts from this area? Ard University. So these people came and we worked with them. Pathology incidences that happened. We needed pathology, anatomical pathology experts. So there are not more than 10. So we also had to look into the cause of what happened on October 29th. Almost all of us have the cause. So we have the views, and so we have gone all over the country. Apart from the special groups that we've been able to meet more than 3,000 people, but we had open meetings. People would come, they ask questions, they contribute, they give us their views of what happened, etc. So apart from the few experts that filled our questionnaires, more than 3,500, and we don't know them. But the people have filled the questionnaires because these questionnaires were online. And most of them are not, but they're just normal people. So we have a job to go through their questionnaires, and we went through them. So we found out what was the cause, what was the catalyst. So we came up with 5 causes, and we realized the 5 causes have also mini causes. And we had more than 80 mini causes. So according to the evidence we received, the evidence is what is giving us the confidence. Everyone will have their own views, but we can be more bold because we have the evidence that is backed by the large number of people. So we had 8 catalysts that we realized that the catalyst is like the matchbox. That was used to spread the fire of what happened in October 2025. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. There was a question by Saleh Daudi that people out there are criticizing the report. What is the problem? According to my view, or the view of the Commission, being criticized, it is something that is healthy, because when you are criticized, that's when you're able to create and build something that is better. You can improve whatever that you have. And one thing that realized in the area of being criticized, it is the fact that there are people who are criticizing without the ability to understand. They're expecting other people who have analyzed the report, then they follow what they say. And we've realized that actually this is a very dangerous trend, because most people, these days don't read newspapers, they don't watch news. All the time people are busy scrolling on social medias, and what they are scrolling are not issues that are going to educate them and enlighten them with current issues. And so we've also seen an importance of the people to be educated on how to use the information that they find on the social media platforms. There are a group of people who believe everything that they see on social media. Everything that they see on social media, they tend to believe it. And so even when we're working as the commission to look for evidence, we worked with a group of people who helped us so much to understand the pictures that were deep fakes. There are some pictures that were handed over to us, and they looked like depicting what was happening on October 2025. But then we realized that they are actually AI backed, but they have been received as pictorial evidence of what happened in October 2025. And so we have a difficult task, especially for the people of Tanzania. We have a communication strategy that is going to ensure that every Tanzanian understands everything that is happening in Tanzania. And that's why we saw that as the Commission of Inquiry in Tanzania, we have a role. We are given a role to have an opportunity to be close to the normal people, be close to them, speak to them, understand their challenges, etc. And this is an area that when person is criticizing, make sure they criticize based on the level of their education or the level of expertise that they have, but not just following the crowd blindly. Let me one of the recommendations was the formation of the Youth Council, and we believe it's going to contribute to heal, but it is also going to involve youth in the building of our nation. And so it is one of very important recommendation that is going to help to heal the nation and create a stable environment. And because we really want to see our country closing this chapter and moving forward. So we're going to give an opportunity for youth to be able to form their council and be able to discuss their issues and solve them. Thank you. And I also want to add what was spoken by the former Chief Justice about international commissions of inquiry. I was part of them, more than 4 international commissions of inquiry, and I'm also the chair of the International Commission on the issue of what is happening in Sudan. This is the 3rd year. Honorable Mohamed Othman Chande, honorable members of the commission, the investigation of post and pre-October 2025 incidents. Thank you so much for the explanation and the clarification that you gave us based on the report. Members of the press, I thank you all so much. Let us all understand that we have a big role of creating awareness and explaining all this to the Tanzanians and the public. All this that was explained today with the purpose of strengthening our unity, to bring reconciliation, and strengthen our peace, because we are the mouthpiece of the government. Honorable former Chief Justice Chande, they cannot, but through the members of the press, various media houses, we can be able to reach the public easily. So help us to communicate the message of the Tanzania we want and the Tanzanian that you have been used for. On behalf of the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Information, thank you so much for being at the forefront to give out true information to the people of Tanzania. Please do not grow tired of us. Let us continue building our country, because we have nowhere else to go. And you are the ones that are going to make this report to be understandable, because your platforms have a great influence. And so we recognize your influence, your capacity. And that's why when we asked Honorable former Chief Justice Judge Chande to come and meet with you, they didn't hesitate. And so you should not lose this honor. And so let us make sure that we inform the public by giving them the right information, and let us correct all the errors that have been communicated earlier, all the fake news. Let us go and correct those errors. Honorable Chair, together with the Commission members, thank you so much. We've come to an end. Thank you. Bye. So